A lot of people save their money, and they save it in cash and build it up in the bank account. Other people invest their cash and hope that that's going to generate a return in the long term. Which is better? Well, let's have a look. Let's jump in and have a little look. I built a spreadsheet to show us what would happen if you left your cash in the bank account versus a return on the stock market, and we can vary that return to see how that would have an impact depending on whether it's a low return or a high return. So, how much do you save per month? Let's say you save £50 per month, so that's £600 per year. Okay, so at £600 per year, in 10 years, you're going to have £6,600 in your bank account. Okay, so what happens if you put a wee interest rate on that? So let's say in your bank account you're getting 1%. Okay, so underneath we see this portfolio 1%. That shows what you would get if you were getting a 1% return on that cash. And after 10 years, you would be up by 5%. You see, you would have an extra £340. Now, if you invest in the stock market, the average return is between about kind of 7% to 10%. In the S&P tracker, through its whole history, it has been generating 10% return per year. And the FTSE 100 generates about 7.5 or 8% per year. So let's stick in 7.5%. Okay, so if you kept your money in cash and you were earning 0% return, you would be getting £6,600, like we said. Now, if you had your money gaining 7.5% per year, after 10 years, you're going to have £9,725. Okay, so that's almost 50% extra by investing your money. And remember, these numbers are average. It's not like, so the stock market doesn't always get 7.5% every single year. It's not guaranteed, but it is average. So it goes up and it goes down. Some years it might be 15%, some years it might be 0, some years it might be negative, other years it might be 30 or 40%. It's just a bit random, but the average is around about 7.5 to 10%. So, okay, so that is pretty cool, right? To show that after 10 years, you could have an extra 50% in your bank account. And that is where we're boiling down to. That's the difference between investing versus keeping your money in cash. When I was younger, I always used to just save up money, keep it in the bank account, and I never really realised that it was kind of just being eaten away by time. And that is one of the things you really need to remember, that your money is being eaten by time. It's time is taking that money away from you, and that mostly happens through inflation, but also it happens because you're not investing that money. That money's not making anything for you, it's just sitting there. So if you have money to invest, it might be sensible to do this. But let's have a look. Okay, so that's 10 years. I've actually built this to go all the way out to 60 years so we can really see the difference, right? So this is £50 a month. Let's bump it up a little bit, right? Let's do £100 a month. Let's assume you can afford £100 a month, right? So £100 a month after 10 years, you've saved £13,000. That's brilliant, okay? You put it in the stock market from year zero. So year zero, 2022, we're assuming that's year zero. You're not going to get any return on that from the stock market at all. You only start generating returns in year one. Okay, in year one, you get £90 from your £1,200 that you invested. Okay, so already you've made £90 extra from the person who just has it in the bank account in cash. So if you've got money sitting in the bank account in cash, every single day counts. Every day counts. And at the end of that 10-year period, the person that kept their money in cash has got $13,200, and you, who have invested in stocks, have got $19,450. So that's a massive difference. But let's go a bit more forward, okay? Let's zoom forward. Let's go forward. So I've specifically gone 9 years forward to 19, and specifically not 20, right? Because this is the point after 19 years where you were at 7.5%. You have more than doubled what you would have if you just left it as cash. So if you invested £100 a month, if you kept £100 a month saved up for 19 years, you'd have £24,000. Whereas if you invested that at 7.5% return, you would have £52,000. So that's over half. You've actually got 117% there return. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let's go a bit further. Let's go out to 39 years. Now, at 39 years, you have saved up in your bank account £48,000 because you've been saving up £100 a month. That's pretty cool. In the stock market, that is now £272,000. So the difference is getting quite big now. Let's keep going. Okay, so at 60 years old, you've saved £100 a month. Not at 60 years old, over 60 years, you've saved £100 a month. In your bank account, there's £73,200. The person who has invested that money is now worth 1.3 million. So you can see over time, as compounding takes effect, you get this massive spike in wealth and income. So, okay, let's say you can save £5,000 per year at 7.5%, but let's say you invest it all in the S&P 500, which has gained 10% per year every single year. So let's plug that in. Okay, in your first year, in 2023 next year, you've gained an extra £500 because your £5,000 from year 0 has gone up by 10%. Okay, so you've made £500. The year after that, you have made £1,550. And the year after that, £3,200. So by the time we get to year 10, if you had saved £5,000 in cash every single year, then you would have £55,000. The person that has invested it, on average, will have £92,000. So that's a 68% increase on just saving cash in the bank. And that's on average. So you can see how this has the potential to make quite a good gain. And it kind of really eats into inflation. As inflation goes up, stocks are very good to combat that inflation. And if we kind of zoom out and we go all the way to 60 years, saving £5,000 a year for 60 years, a person would have 300,000. And I can't even see this final figure. Look at that. Almost 17 million through investing. So that is a lot more. That is a lot more. It's 5,300% on the amount invested. It's a ridiculous amount. And that's how compounding works. It really starts to go exponential. And to show this on a graph, I have actually graphed it. So here is the zoomed in graph of the first 20 years. And you can see that investing £5,000 a year for 20 years, you would have around about 100,000. And the person that's invested it, you can see, has over 300,000. And if we zoom out to 60 years, you can really start to see how you get the majority of your gains towards the end of time. So time really does eat your cash away, and it really pushes you forward. So if you invest your cash for a long amount of time, you can see that those gains really start to stack up. Now, just for fun, what we're going to do is we're going to type in Warren Buffett's percentage gain. So he gets, on average, 29% a year. I think between him and Peter Lynch, they've both achieved something like that. In fact, I think Warren Buffett was maybe around about 20, but let's go 20%. I don't know the exact number, but it's around about 20 to 30%. And it doesn't really matter what figure we plug in here. It's just a regular amount that we're putting in here. And you can see that even over investing over 20 years, this number starts to go exponential. If you remember that the blue line was £100,000, and over 20 years, we're now well over $1 million. And over 60 years, we're actually approaching $1.5 billion at this sort of return. That is how ridiculous it gets. So in fact, if we look at the figures, that's £5,000 at 20% per year, which is pretty much impossible. Only the best investors in the world can get anywhere close, and even they struggle. and that would end with a 60-year investment period would end with about 1.5 billion. So that's kind of crazy. That shows the power of investing, because after 60 years, you'd have £300,000 or 1.5 billion. I mean, it really kind of shows the potential for investing. So knowing what I know now, I would never keep my money in cash. I would always have a buffer. Make sure you have a buffer, because stocks are risky. The whole market could collapse. It could. It's not likely to, but it could. And then you need to have your own cash buffer. But apart from that, any spare cash should always be invested. And you can see here how that makes such a massive difference, even just over the 10-year period. So hope that you enjoyed that, guys. Like and subscribe if you like this video. Leave me some comments below if you have any other kind of suggestions or any kind of ideas. And I look forward to catching you on the next video.